Hello, hello, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Thank you for tuning in to watch. This is going to be an unscripted monologue of me talking at you while I watch the same video you are about to watch. I've drawn this picture of a Christmassy character for fun, and I decided to record myself as I did so, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the process of constructing and rendering this character. It's unscripted, and we're looking at about 8 minutes of video, so we're going to go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1 now. So I start here with just basic construction of a character. I already had kind of in my mind what I wanted the face to look like. And a lot of people, if you go into art school or something, they're going to teach you how to do construction, how to do form, and how to plan everything out. I do all that stuff in my head, which is basically, I do everything the wrong way because I am self-taught. As you can see, I had a couple different ideas for poses that I scrapped. Ultimately, the original idea was just I wanted to do a Christmas elf with a candy cane as a cane. And the rest of it just kind of evolved from there. I tried to do kind of like the Disney Tinkerbell body shape here. I wanted it to be cartoony. Right there, you could see I had to look up what a candy cane looked like. So this is going pretty darn fast. This whole process actually took me about 4 hours, and I did it in a few different chunks, but I sped it all up. And it's fun because watching the sped up footage, I actually feel like I know what I'm doing, but most of it, and there you can see Peppermints, I've decided to name her Peppermints, and right there I just wrote in, pardon the stripper name. I realized that probably it sounds like it might be a stripper name, but I also thought it sounded like a Christmas elf name. So I finished mostly roughing in my shape for the concept. Oh, and here's a little bit, I'm playing with the eye here. You'll notice I leave a little bit of a chunk there in the eye. I basically I like doing eyes. I like getting that good wet look with the shine, with the light reflecting on the eyes. That's something I've been picking up recently in inking. You'll notice that I spend way too long on this bell. And we'll come back to that when I start coloring it. I spend way too long on the bells. And this kind of fits my process most of the time, where like I have a rough idea and I am impatient, so rather than go in and plan the whole thing out and do construction and rough in everything before I start inking, I basically got the head done and the rest of it is still very abstract. So right here you can see I'm going in and erasing some of the sketch marks and fixing them before I ink as I go. And this is mostly due to me being very impatient. This bit here at the beginning goes very quickly because it's the part that took me the longest. And that bow, I am very, very proud of how that bow turned out. You'll see when it's colored. Once we get into coloring, after I've finished all the line art, right there you can see I wanted to make sure that there was the same number of stripes on either sleeve, and there are not. But who cares? It's something that you may not have noticed until just now when I pointed it out. But those are things I think about, those little details, and I have to do more freaking bells on the shoes. Oh. So once we get into coloring, I actually kind of feel like this video slows down a bit. I've watched it twice to kind of make sure that there aren't any crazy jumps or jarring things. There's still a few things where I'm inking where she's like rotating around and stuff. That's kind of unavoidable because I'm just recording my screen. But as you can see, this is a step I like to do to just make sure that I don't have any gaps in the line art, and to make sure that it does look like one cohesive unit. So I put that black back there. That black is behind a transparent or a half opaque white layer. So when I turn that off, it just becomes a black background. So any gaps in the line art will be filled by that. But it also helps me separate the white background from the actual character, and you can see like the gaps in between her knees, the gaps in between her arm and her torso. It just helps me remember which parts need color and which parts are actually you seeing through to the background. Here we get into skin color. This is just blocking in colors. There's no details, there's no shading, no textures, just getting all the colors in there, and this is the fun part. Here, I spend an awful long time, after I get the candy cane done, I spend an awful long time debating with myself, and I actually put the poll to several of my friends, which color for the hair do you like the best? And then I play with all sorts of different colors. I actually kind of liked the darker hair, but I realized at that point I was spending way too long deciding what color to make the hair, so I just went with pink. Most people, out of the two options, the green and pink that I gave them, most people seemed to like pink, so I stuck with pink. Tried a little bit of highlighting, maybe putting in some green highlights to give her like a punk rock kind of hair. I'm very happy with how that bell turned out, by the way. Here I'm playing with some different brushes to see if I want to do texture. I end up just kind of doing basically cell shading because I wanted it to be very simple cartoon, but I do put a little bit of texture work in there to finish off the hat, just to make it look kind of like material. And this was cool. I turned the white and red stripes into one single layer, and I just did this transparent red for the shading so that the red looks like a darker red in the shadow and the white actually has a hint of that red in there. And I do something similar when I get to coloring her face, which hopefully I'll remember to talk about. This is going way faster than I realized it would, so all the things I thought I wanted to say are I've kind of abandoned them, but feel free to ask me questions, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. I tried to get in kind of to do more of the body shape through the lighting rather than hard line work, which is something that I'm actually still kind of getting used to. And here, I wanted to give it this glittery kind of white sparkliness. I ended up putting too much on, and then it was too white, so I just kind of made it that light green, but I ultimately kind of like it. It's subtle. And then here's with the ribbons. I did the same effect, but with gold, and then cell shaded it, and I think it really kind of looks like that sparkly kind of like Christmas ribbon that you might use to wrap your presents, and which is exactly what I was going for. So I was really happy with how that turned out. Nothing fancy with the tights here. Just I basically wanted to start simplifying because I was getting way too crazy with the textures. Hooray, I finished the tights. That was a really quick thing. Okay, so I had a base skin color, and when I did the shading and the light, I actually veered closer to red, as well as making it darker to kind of blend with the hair and to kind of give her this like rosy, reddish, Christmassy look, because she is supposed to be a Christmas elf and not a human. I wanted to give like very subtle detail in the eyes and the teeth here to make everything just kind of pop. And then the Christmas cane, or the candy cane, just very simple, shiny candy color. The boots, nothing too fancy, just kind of taking the same texture from the vest and putting that on, trying to make that look good. I think it looked pretty good. Do the bell work, some metallic gold or brass look on there. And ultimately, that's basically the character. And then whenever I do backgrounds, I just kind of throw them together, and it's just time for me to play because I generally am not doing like landscape work, so I just kind of played with textures and different brushes and threw the shadow down there, and I was really not happy with how the shadow ended up looking, so I move it around all over the place, and eventually I'm just like, I'm done dealing with that. And then I wrote her name in there, Peppermints, and I turned it to white and red, and then here in Merry Christmas. So thank you all for watching, and have a very, very, very happy holiday and a very happy new year as we move into 2021. Let me know if this is something you would enjoy watching in the future, if you have any notes or whatever. It was kind of fun to do, and very intimidating as well, because I have never recorded myself draw anything ever. Thanks. Merry Christmas.